Hey everyone, it's Theresa, and today I have such a fun video for you to see all these really fun projects, and there is going to be a giveaway, so make sure you're watching all the way through. First, we're going to start off with one of these rugs from the Dollar Tree, and I went ahead and cut out with my Cricut a stencil for it. This was my first time giving this a try, and you just wait. I was so happy with it. You'll see in just a minute though. So it's just going to be Honey, I'm Home, and it's got some bees in it, and that's pretty much what all of today's projects are like some kind of bee related thing. It was so funny when I first told my husband I was going to do this kind of video. He was like, oh yeah, I get it, because you're Theresa B. And I was like, oh, totally didn't think of it that way, but you're right. That works perfectly. So I was really focusing on getting this stencil vinyl to kind of sit down as best as I could. And then I thought, like, first I was like, well, let me try to go in with a brush. And that didn't work quite so well. So I was like, let me just try to, go in with that. Didn't really work out. And I'm going to end up getting just a little sponge brush. These are from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to pounce all over this. And the paint that I actually used is some Arteza outdoor acrylic paint. So it's specifically made for outside, and I'm hoping that it's going to hold up pretty well. I really liked how thick it was, so it worked really well in that aspect. So I'm going to leave it linked for you below. I got mine off of Amazon. It wasn't sent to me. I bought it myself. But I am going to leave that linked for you below in case you're interested. I bought, I think, like a 30 pack or 24 pack. I can't remember off the top of my head. So this is just the black one that they have, in there in the pack. And I'm going to do that pretty much for the whole thing with the exception of the bee. So what I did is on the bee, I took out the outline part, and you can kind of start to see it here. I took out the outline of the bee first to do that in black, and then I was like, well, I'm going to freehand the other parts of it. And I'll show you in a minute how I ended up doing that, and it worked out really good. So you just, I would probably recommend, I only did one layer of the black. I would recommend doing two. I really wish I had done two, but I was so excited to get this taken off to see how it looks. And I was really, really impressed that it did not have like hardly any bleeding. And then, so once I'm done taking off the main part of the vinyl, I am just going to go in with my little weeding tool and pull off, any of the other stuff, the other little parts that are just making the letters out. And like I said, I was so happy with how this came out. I was like doing my little happy dance off camera, obviously, because you can't see me, but I was just really excited how it turned out. So now once I take off all of these little pieces to the bee, this is important if you do this project, make sure you keep the outline, that you initially took off to make the black. We're going to put that back down when we're ready to do all of the other colors. If you decide to do that, I'll show you at the end how it looked both ways, with the color, without the color. So same thing, just pulling off all of that excess stencil and then getting all of the other little pieces. Obviously this little part up in the corner was a lot easier and faster because it didn't have all the letters and all that. So once that's done, like I said, I tried to do it freehand, and I was like, you know what, let me put the stencil part like back down. So save that if you decide to do this. I liked it with both ways, like without the color and with the color. So it depends on your vibe, if you're going for more bright stuff, if you're going for more neutral, it kind of is nice that this project can, go either direction. And I was really surprised. This little rug carpet thing from Dollar Tree, it is, I believe, a 16 by 24, and it's really thick. So I really like this. I wish it was a plain one and didn't have any of this like pattern behind it, but I was okay with it. So I used kind of more of like a pointier brush for the yellow part and a little bit flatter brush for the white wings. And what I'd kind of come to see is I like the flat brush, but you definitely want to pick a brush that's a lot denser. And I'm so sorry if you hear that in the background. Of course, the kids cannot play with anything that doesn't require a lot of noise when I'm trying to do a voiceover. So once I was done with that, I do peel off that little bit, and there you can see the difference, the one with the color and the one without. I just really loved it. So like I mentioned, this is a special video. This is also a collab with Liz, the official craft nerd. I absolutely love Liz. She is so much fun. She does just a lot of different DIYs, and she does like little hauls and not so little hauls, and you're just going to absolutely love her. If you have not already discovered her as well, make sure that you go check her out. I'll have her linked below. Alright, so for the next project, we're going to start off with one of these little wood houses from Dollar Tree. And I removed everything, and I'm going to paint it in this Maize chalk paint from Waverly. And then on the edges, I'm going to do the color ink from Waverly. And this one, of course, is just "Home is where my honey is." Isn't that adorable? I couldn't get over it. So we're just going to apply that, of course, onto our house. Now the house itself, the yellow, I want to say that's probably about 3 coats, and then it's only 1 coat on the black, because that paint, I tell you what, that stuff is just there. And next we're just going to, of course, going to add some twine, because when you don't know what to do, you just add twine to it. So we're just going to kind of roll that around a few times, and then I'm just going to go ahead and give it a quick little snip. And I wasn't sure, I was like, should I do a little bow? Should I do a little something else? So I'm going to add this little bee charm. I want to say I got it from Michael's. It was like $2.50 maybe. So I think it's a cute little touch. And then once we've gotten that secured, I'm just going to go ahead and glue down the twine on the back side of the house, making sure it's good and secure. And we're just going to give it a quick snip, and we will just move on. And I couldn't find my little tool, so I just like, oh, just smudge it with this. And it needed a little something else, so we're just going to add a little bit of greenery and just one tiny little flower, just to give it a little pop of, you know, something to break up that yellow. Because this video, these projects, you will see there is a lot of yellow. So at first I thought just the 1 leaf, then I decided, you know, let me give it an extra leaf. So here is the final project. It's super pretty, super cute. I love it. I just love everything from this video. All right, so I've got this little block of wood. It's roughly like 5 1/4 or so, you know, wide and tall, because it's square. And I did stain it with and I will list the color of the stain for you below. And I'm going to add this "Be Kind" with a couple little bee accents here, and I'm just doing the same kind of thing with, you know, just stamping the same little applicator that I used before. And I've got the same color chalk paint, you know, ink from Waverly. And I think that these are all just so sweet and you know, cute and everything. They're perfect for spring, and just can't get over it. I cannot get over this whole theme of the videos. You guys will have to let me know, do you like these videos that are more like one overall theme? Do you like things a little bit different, so you can kind of pick and choose what you like? And I'm going to do my best as well on all of these decals. I designed a lot of them, so if I can link them for you below or show you where I'm going to get it, I will do that. And here's the satisfying moment. I had to zoom it in for you, of peeling off the stencil and getting it nice and crisp. And I just had to share that with you because it's so satisfying. It's so weird, but it's so satisfying. Tell me below, do you guys like to do that too? Is it really satisfying for you when it's nice and it's clean? So after that, we're just going to, of course, go through, and I'll zoom you know, I had to turn up my light so I could see it a little easier. I'm just going to go through and peel up all of the extra little pieces of the vinyl, just to, you know, make my letters, you know, look like the letters they're supposed to be. So I almost thought, and I should have done it, I was thinking about putting like a word count in here of every time I say the word "bee." And then I decided I wanted to distress this a little bit. Originally I wanted to distress the black part, but when I did it across the top part of the wood, the black almost looked like it smeared a little bit. And I mean, that paint had been on there for, you know, at least a day or two. So I was afraid to do it. I'm going to take these 2 new little things of cotton twine from Dollar Tree, yellow and black, because I need to, you know, tie it all in. with all the other projects today, and I'm just gonna of course give it, you know, a nice little spot to sit on the back, and we'll just spin it around a couple of times. I think I did like 4, and I was trying to do almost like a little bit of a like twisting it a little so you could see some of the black, some of the yellow. I think it really stood out really nicely. And then I was like, well, let me do a little knot so it has somewhere to hang. And then I think eventually I just kind of gave up. Yeah, I just gave up. I was like, no, it's not going to happen today. So let's just glue it on and it'll be just fine. And I was like, well, of course, I need a little bow. So we're just going to take a few, you know, just a couple inches of the ribbon, cotton twine, whatever we're going to call it today, both colors, and I'm just going to do just a cute little shoestring bow, nothing particularly fancy. You guys know I'm not the greatest when it comes to bows, so do that, and I'll just trim off the excess, and I'm going to glue it down, make it kind of look like it's what was, you know, holding it all together. But I wasn't done yet. I had my husband make this for me. He has a 3D printer, so it's just really cute, and he has the file. I'll link it for you below in case anybody has a 3D printer. You could make it too. Here it is, all finished. It's so freaking cute. I can't get over it. I can't get over the cuteness today. All right, so we got these little blocks from Target in the dollar spot. There were 3 of them for $3, so I was happy with it. I just did a full coat of, like, probably 3 coats again of this yellow. And I'm going to take this little honeycomb and I'm just going to find a good spot. I was kind of debating, like, obviously I was debating because I keep moving it. I was debating on where I wanted to put it, if I wanted to put it at an angle, if I wanted to keep it straight. I kind of ended up leaving it pretty much straight-ish, maybe a tiny bit of a tilt. And I am using transfer tape. I know most of the time people are like, oh, you don't really need to use it for stencil vinyl. But I was like, how in the world do you use stencil vinyl without transfer tape and keep all the little pieces in the middle? So I wasn't going to attempt it. Who knows? You guys will have to let me know. Is there a way to do that? So I am going to just go in with that Adirondack white paint, and here we go. Another moment of satisfying, you know, paint peeling backing. I'm just gonna, except I'm not gonna show you every little bit of it coming off, but there's the outside part, and then I do of course remove all of the little octagons in there as well. And now I'm gonna distress it. It was a little too stark white. Now if I'd made them a little thinner, I think I definitely could have gotten away with it, but I didn't want it to be so like abundantly white, and I needed a little bit of distressing going on. So I get my handy dandy finger sander. I got it at Target. I'm going to list that for you below. And then I take my handy dandy Ladybug vacuum. You know, it's not a bee, but we'll have to forgive it. And we're just going to do this stencil on here, happy as can be. And I totally didn't notice it, but one of the wings wasn't white. I ended up going back and painting it. So I hand cut like those little white parts for the wings. I know I could do it layering on my Cricut, but I just ended up doing it by hand. I figured that was going to probably be a little faster. So here it is. See, I painted it. I fixed it. It's so cute though. Again, so cute. All right, guys, you know how I am with gnomes. If you've been watching me, I'm not very good at them. So for this one, I started off with a gnome. My husband's son, so funny. He's like, you didn't make a gnome. You cheated. You just dressed a gnome. So I'm going to add some of these river rocks to the bottom because this is just a leftover ornament from Christmas. I have a couple more of these, so you never know. You might see more gnomes in the future now that I've decided I can do it as long as I have something to start with. So next, of course, we're just going to seal them shut with our glue gun. And I could have done it with like some needle and thread. It probably would have looked a little bit nicer and a little more finished, but who wants to get that out? So I am just going to use my glue gun just to seal them all up. And then I have this little bit of striped fabric. It's really not even fabric. It came from a little skirt from Dollar Tree in the kids section. I bought 2, don't worry. I bought 1 for my daughter and 1 for this project. So she didn't feel like, you know, I was butchering her little costume. So I cut a piece bigger than I think I needed because I've done that in the past and ended up you know, having to scrap it because it just didn't want to work. And then I'm just going to kind of do a gluing all around, you know, where the hat goes, basically. And I actually had to iron this little thing too because it was just all wrinkled, you know, in the packaging and all that. So I'm going to just start draping it along, and then as I go, I'll start to actually trim it down. See, like now I was like, okay, let me go ahead and trim it down. I think I'm safe. And so I'll do that. Trimmed it down, and now I'm going to trim the other side. I'm like, okay, I'm safe. I'm going to trim down the top. And I'm not really worried about making a really nice clean line on, you know, these. I'm going to make it more of like a faux seam in the back anyways. It's a very loose interpretation of a seam. So I'll fold it over just to try to make it look a little bit nicer, and just basically just keep adding glue wherever you can, wherever makes the most sense to try and hold it all together. This poor little guy is just held together by river rocks and glue and hot glue sticks. But it's okay. He'll end up really cute. You'll see in a minute. And just basically continue that all along the way. And I'm going to just kind of fast forward you through just so we can get to the reveal of this little guy. I do want to show you how I finish off the hat. I'm basically just folding over and kind of bringing it to like one little spot in the center-ish area of his head area. So we'll just basically keep doing that, and I'm folding it kind of as I go, and then here he is. It's kind of skipped through it, but you get the basic idea. So now, of course, our little bee gnome needed to have some wings. So this is just a little headband. It's the same like collection. I cut out the wings, and then we're going to glue it all on his back to give him some nice little wings. And don't worry, again, I have an extra set that my daughter has. That way she didn't feel like I stole her stuff. Because if I bring it home and it's a toy or girly, you forget about it. She thinks it's hers. So we just add the wings, and then there he is. He's so cute. Isn't he adorable? Little bee gnome. And like I said, today is a giveaway. This little bee necklace is actually from Project Honeybee, and their proceeds actually go to help saving bees. You know, you adopt one, and I'll leave their site below for you as well. And the winner of today's giveaway, you are going to get that bee necklace as well as a $20 gift card to Dollar Tree. So just all you have to do is just leave a comment below on my video and a comment on Liz's video. I'll have it linked for you as well. So let's go ahead and get back into the crafts. So next project, we are going to take one of these little laundry signs from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to pop off the back of it. Be very careful. There are several pins, nail things in it, so make sure you get those out. I'm just going to pull all of those out of the frame with my, little I cannot talk, little tweezer plier things. And those are going to be linked for you below. There's a set of 3. They're really great for these little projects when they're really, like fine spots that you're trying to get into. So then once we've gotten rid of all of them, I believe there were like 6 or 7. It's like so funny how Dollar Tree is about securing some things and not others. Because like that, whoop, there it goes. No, I don't even need to use a heat gun. So I'm going to use this printable here. I'm going to have that linked for you below, of where you can go and download it. I'm going to probably have that in a Google Drive folder, so you can go over there, check it out, download it. It's just a printable. This way you can make some projects like I did. I'm going to have as many of them as I can in that same folder. So this was just kind of cute. It was just a, be happy, be kind, be humble. I just really like the idea of it. So I just take a big glue stick, put it on the actual backing. I did sand the backing a little bit just because it had some rough spots from where those nails were holding it in. Then just to put it back in our frame, and just do a little bit of hot glue in the corners, and we're just going to plop it on in there. I liked the color of the outside frame, so I didn't even want to change that. I just loved that darker natural look to it. So I'm just going to get out some extra glue, and here it is, all finished. Again, it'll be linked for you below. Now we're going to do a beaded garland. These are just some round beads. I've already painted them, as you can tell, and I'm going to go through and add some antiquing on the yellow beads. Now, if you want to reduce some of the yellowness, just use the natural wood instead of the yellow. I thought about it, but then I ended up painting it. I've got this little cutout I've got from the farmer's market calendar from Dollar Tree. It's one of the ones off of the back, and I just put it on a little piece of wood. My camera didn't want to like me very much at the moment, so it didn't record it for whatever reason. And I just punched a hole in it just using a little, Dremel tool to get a hole in there. And then we're just going to feed our twine through it. I was smart about it this time. I made sure I put some tape on the edge of my twine, left a little bit of slack. Otherwise, your wood beads don't have anywhere to really move. And then we're going to get another one of those charms, and we're going to use that on there too. So at first I tried just to do some of the antique wax on it, and then I was like, no, it needs a little something else. So I'm going to use a little bit of the wax and a little bit of the mineral colored chalk paint from Waverly, just to give it a little age. I mean, I aged the beads. The bead couldn't be super shiny and new, so I went ahead and did that, and I'm just going to kind of wipe a little bit of away, maybe add a little more antique wax, just kind of work with it until it gets to the point where you like it, or you can leave it completely silver. It's completely up to you. It's your choice. It's your project. So I'll just string that through, and I'll, just do a nice little knot, hold it in place. I doubled it because I wasn't sure how secure one knot would be, so I'll cinch it down and get it kind of in a good spot, trim it off. And here you go, all finished, really cute and pretty, just adding a little more neutral tones, to our abundantly yellow area. So I have this little bee honey dabber that my husband made off his printer again, and I painted it in that same chalk paint and did some black on the edge. And now I'm going to do a little bit of antiquing. Now, initially when I put it in there, I did glue it just to make sure it doesn't come off, and I'm just adding some of that antique wax from Folk Art, or you can use the Waverly one if you have that one. We'll just kind of go over that quite a bit. It just depends on what you want to do. If you want to leave it kind of more like a natural color, that would be really pretty. If you don't have anybody to give you it from a 3D printer, they do make it from Hobby Lobby too. And then as a little added detail, I'm just going to put on this little bee that my husband made, again, from his 3D printer, and I hand painted. It's just a cute little touch, just to kind of finish that one off. Now we're going to take this ball mason jar, just a small one, cover it in, you guessed it, yellow paint. And now we're going to add some extra details. I took this is kind of like the leftovers from one of the stencils earlier, as you can tell, since it's all black. And I'm just going to put it in just a couple of places, trying to make sure that it's really adhered to it. And I just went over it with some black paint. I messed up in a spot, but that's okay because we're going to antique it. So I'm just going to take my finger sander again and just kind of give a little bit of distressing and kind of give it a little spots here and there. And we'll go over this whole thing with the antique wax, kind of going with the same look as I gave the honey dabber. Honey dabber? You guys will have to tell me, what exactly is that little thing called? I was like, oh, it's a honeycomb, but it's not a honeycomb because that's the little thing the bees live in. So let me know down in the description box or down in the comments if you know what it's called. Next, we're going to take that black cotton twine again, and I'm just going to put it all around the top part. I thought about painting like stripes on there, but I'm not capable of making straight lines, especially not free-handed straight lines. I'm shocked I was able to do it at all on that little bee that I have on there, on the little honey dabber thing. And even with painter's tape, I was like, this is just not going to happen today, so let's not try. So I was like, well, if I add a little bit of black twine to it, that'll kind of look like a stripe, like a bee. So I was like, hey, that's kind of cute. And then I just did a quick little finger bow. I would give you like advice on how to do it, but it would probably be horrible advice because I'm really bad at doing bows. So I would say your best luck is to find another person to show you how to do it because it's definitely not me. So I'm going to just trim off the edges. I didn't want a tail on it. And here it is, all finished. Super cute. All right, on to our last project. This is from Hobby Lobby, this little rolling pin. I'm going to cover it with the white, or not the white, goodness gracious, with the yellow and the black. And then I'm going to add my little decal on there that just is a bee happy. And I just thought it was the sweetest little thing. So I'm going to just add that on there. It's just, the happy with a little swiggle and the bee, and it's just So stinking cute. I don't know what it is about bees with me this year. I just think they're all so cute. So we're just going to add that onto our little rolling pin. And I know they make these in other places too, so sometimes you can get them a little bit bigger as well. Just kind of depends on what you're going for. These might end up on like a tiered tray or just as a shelf sitter. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure where they're going in my house, but they're going somewhere. Here it is all finished up. It's just super cute. And here are all of our projects for the day. I really hope you guys liked them. Let me know what's your favorite one. I really appreciate everybody for coming out and checking out my video. Don't forget to enter into the giveaway. And of course, do not forget to go check out Liz at The Official Craft Nerd. I'll have her linked for you below. And I hope everyone's having a great, wonderful day. And I will see you next time.